everybody. It is Laura Key, the Realty Goddess of Los Angeles, California. I help to establish the community one house at a time. Welcome today to this wonderful series that we have about your legacy and what you're going to leave and what you're going to leave to your family and how you start these things. These are tough conversations, but you can't get started with this without having the conversation. My very special guest today is Sedric Collins, and he is the lead attorney at Legacy One Law. Hi, Sedric. How are you today?
How you doing, Laura? I'm doing just great. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. I am super excited about our series. This is part 2. So, guys, if you've missed the first one or any of the other ones that follow us, this is a 6-part series. You can start anywhere, but don't miss out on the other ones. So Sedric, I get a lot of questions and I see probate a lot of the times in my listings, or I'm searching for my clients and I see probate a lot. And I wanted to talk to you today about what is probate and what is the probate process? How can it benefit those who are homeowners or thinking about being homeowners? Can you help me out with that today?
Absolutely. So basically, the probate, in short, is litigation that it's opened up against a decedent's estate. So when someone dies and they have property that's in their name, the court pretty much, if there's no bypass, such as a living trust, the court pretty much has jurisdiction to manage the distribution of that person's estates, handle their final affairs. And so when the court is petitioned to open up a probate proceeding, there's several interests that are in play here. You have the interest of the creditors of the decedent, the person who's died, yes. Right? Creditors could be government creditors, such as taxes. It could be regular traditional debtors like credit card or mortgages or anything of that nature. So there's the creditor interest, and there's also the beneficiary's interest. Those individuals who are your heirs, those who you've left behind. So not only does the probate proceeding look at paying off your creditors, but they could also handle the distribution of your assets. And the probate process basically begins when someone petitions the court to open up the probate. And if you have a will, the wills are probated. Where there's a will, there's a probate. And part of that probate process, the judge will prove the will. Will look at the validity of the will to make sure it meets the requirements under California law, or if you're looking at this from another state, your state's laws, but that's how it works here in California. And it gives an opportunity for people to contest if they want to contest that will. Wills are public documents. In fact, if you go down and you pay a fee to the probate court, you can get a copy of a will. Very public, just like a divorce proceeding. Yes. A lot of people don't know wills are public documents that are when they're probated with the court. Absolutely.
Very interesting. I think you just kind of took me for a loop on that one. I wasn't ready for that one because I've never had to do that part of the process.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, when that will and testament, if it goes before the court, that's going to be on record, kept on record and kept on file in the probate court. So absolutely. Some people don't like the idea of that being public, like they're passing down these assets and this is what they have. And yeah, if for a fee, that can be retrieved by another member of the public.
I can see why some people would be hesitant to do that then.
Privacy, right?
Privacy.
And
but what does it do to benefit them to do this? I mean, to me, I wouldn't want the courts making those decisions for me. I want my decisions and my wishes to be handled. So that's a tough one. But I also don't want my info in the streets either. So what do you suggest for people who are looking at this and need to know that this is a very important process?
This is a very important process. And what my mantra is here at Legacy One, we keep families out of court and conflict. We recommend avoiding it because here in California, it is a beast. Your assets can be tied up from 6 to 24 months. And given the current state of affairs right now with the pandemic, perhaps even longer. You will be here to handle that, but who will be here to handle this is your heirs, your kids, your loved ones. They're the
Wow.
ones that are going to have to go take time off work and hire an attorney and go through these different hearings just to get your home. And we're talking to homeowners here specifically. So your home is, if you have a home in California that exceeds $50,000 and it's in your name or in your spouse's name, it's going to go through the probate process if something happens to you and you leave here.
Hmm.
And so our phone rings a lot for probate avoidance. That's one of the number one reasons why our phone rings here, because people hear about this probate process and say, we want an alternative. And
Ah,
we're here to let you know that there is and there are alternatives to avoiding the probate process. And part of what we do here at Legacy One Law Firm is we educate and empower the community on probate avoidance. That's one of the things that we do to help our clients. So probate is totally avoidable.
aha. So they need to talk to you and not wait to the last minute to do so.
Absolutely. Because what happens is when it's too late, it's too late. And we get calls from heirs of beneficiaries who have inherited houses, and now they're in the probate process and they want to figure out how to get out.
Yeah.
And sometimes the parent has created a trust, but it wasn't set up correctly. And the asset wasn't retitled, and it's just an expensive stack of documents now.
Yeah.
And now we get phone calls saying, hey, what do we do now? And now we have to do a petition, and that's more court cost and legal fees. When if it was handled the right way while the person was alive, then the probate process could have been completely avoided.
Now, on our first part of our series where we talked about estate planning, we said that estate planning is the big umbrella and it covers so many things underneath this. And the probate process would be part of what it covers, correct?
Absolutely. One of the things that we educate on is what happens to you and your assets if you die. If you leave here, what happens under California law? And we mentioned before, if you don't have a plan, the state of California has a plan for you. And
Right.
that plan is probate if you die, with assets in your name if you have a will, it's going to go through probate. But the way that you can avoid that is through a revocable living trust. And that's the
Ah,
most common vehicle that homeowners use for probate avoidance. And a trust, you may add, and we're going to get into this in this series, what a trust is. But basically, if you have that trust properly executed, it allows your affairs to be handled privately. So that way your home isn't tied up in the court process. And so it's not just your home that ends up in probate, but if you have bank accounts that are in your name, even if you have a life insurance policy where you've named kids as beneficiaries, that has to go through the court process. And a lot of people don't know that. I have life insurance and I named the beneficiary. Well, is that beneficiary a minor? Then it's going to end up in court if that's your beneficiary. The beneficiary is a minor child, because there's something called the Uniform Transfer to Minors Act, which you don't convey property directly through to a child without it going through the court and guardianship process. So that's a whole nother beast in and of itself. But all of that can be with the proper planning.
and that's the message today. The probate process can be avoided if you put the right things in motion. And in order to do that, you have to have what? A conversation, just like we are always talking about.
It does start with the conversation. And sometimes we get, clients that want to know, well, Sedric, what's the difference between a will and a trust? And we're going to get into that in detail. But on that probate process, something that a lot of people don't know is that the state will take a percentage of your estate.
Wow.
So they're not just doing this out of the kindness of their hearts, because they want to make sure that your kids get what's coming to them.
Yeah.
They're charging you a pretty penny, a pretty significant chunk out of your estate in order to manage these affairs for you. And it's illegal. It's under California law. It's all statutory. Under statutory law, they can take a percentage of your estate to give that money to the court and to the system to basically do what you could have done while you were alive.
Right. Wow. So they can very easily call you for a free consultation and talk about and lay out what needs to be done to avoid all of this and still protect their family and their funds from someone else stepping in to take some of those hard-earned funds that you're leaving behind.
Absolutely, because it's not just the financial implications, the time implications, but a lot of the things that what's often overlooked, Laura, is the emotional impact and the stress.
Yes.
Because your loved ones, they've lost you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And now they have to deal with the courts,
Yeah.
and the house is tied up in
And
court.
someone who doesn't even know you, who's just doing their job. They have no connection. And it's just that running into that wall when you're talking about someone you love very much and someone who doesn't know you.
Exactly. So my advice is avoid it.
Okay.
Avoid it and save your family the time, the expense, and the additional stress of having to deal with an already congested California court system.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good message to end with right now. You can avoid it. So please make sure that you follow us and you follow this series because we're giving you valuable information for free. And at the end of this broadcast, you'll see how you can contact Sedric and you can contact me. We're here to help you and guide you through what you need to do so you can be safe and secure in knowing that your wishes are being uh, taken care of when you're no longer here. So, Sedric, I thank you so much for joining me again today. I'm really just so excited about this whole series. I'm grateful that you have taken the time to chat with me and our viewers to help educate them.
Thank you for having me, Laura. It's been a pleasure once again.
My name is Laura Key. I am the Realty Goddess of Los Angeles, California, and I help to establish the community one house at a time. I wish you nothing but love, light, and blessings. Why not go out on a limb? Isn't that where the fruit is? It is. Bye.